Okay, super, 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 super. All right, how are you guys doing? First and foremost. First and foremost. Are you guys good? Okay. No, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. So yesterday when we spoke, we just went over, the knowledge foundation, and we also went over the knowledge management solutions, right? But we particularly only spoke to knowledge management infrastructure. That was where we left off, and we spoke about the stuff under the five major components of knowledge management infrastructure. Okay, so today what we're looking at is we're going to look at two important uh, sections within this unit, that being your knowledge management processes and then your knowledge management systems. Okay, but before we go there, I want us to just quickly see here what the other half of learning unit 2 is all about. So if you look at the slide, you see that the learning outcomes are as follows. Learning outcome number 4, explain how knowledge management solutions can improve organizational decision making. A lot of this we've already been seeing, all right? You actually see that a lot of the information almost seems repetitive, all right? And then the next learning outcome is that of number 5, explain the approaches to implementing knowledge management, all right? Then number 6, discuss internal and external knowledge sources important for organizational effectiveness. All right. And then lastly, develop a knowledge management strategy to support business strategy. Okay. So that's what we're talking about there. Then knowledge management processes. Again, here on this slide, the first, what you got in blue, they're just defining knowledge management again. And as we already know, knowledge management is basically us doing the things necessary to get the most out of our knowledge resources. Okay. And here now they're just extending it to speak on people achieving their goals as individuals and as a company. But what is important for us to take away from this slide is what we have in orange, and that is something new to us, and that is knowledge management relies on 4 main kinds of knowledge management processes. All right? So you've got 4 main processes, but then you've got 8 sub processes, of which fall under each of those 4. All right? Well, some, let me say some. All right, it's like 2 sub processes under each of the 4. Okay, so those are your 4. The ones in red, knowledge discovery, you've got knowledge capture, knowledge sharing, knowledge application. Okay, so these are not new concepts, we've seen them before. Okay, right, did I skip a slide? Okay, no, I didn't. Okay, so that was just handling it or looking at it from an overview perspective. So you got knowledge discovery. Again, this is about us retrieving new information that, or data, all right? Information or knowledge that hasn't been found yet. Okay, now remember we've got tacit and explicit knowledge from data and information, all right? Do we remember what tacit and explicit mean? Anybody remember what tacit and explicit mean? Tacit and explicit knowledge. I saw you nodding your head. Talk to us, sir. Talk to us.
I look at it
As what?
how I see it.
Yes, fine.
Tacit is more, not, it's more implied.
It's implied. Yes. Let's hear. What else? Oh, sorry. I'm hype. I'm your hype man. I'm sorry. I'm getting carried away here.
So, as in, this is knowledge that we don't, sorry.
You're on the right track.
Yeah,
For sure.
But as with explicit,
Yes.
means that it's something that we know for sure.
Uh-huh.
coming from experience, coming from like professionals who've been in the business long term.
Yes.
And things that we know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And tacit means more knowledge that we know about, I'd say more about like external environment.
Okay.
It involves more the external environment than what we know.
Mm-hmm.
It tells us how do you ways to adapt to different situations like this. Let's say that.
Okay. So anybody else want to explain what they believe explicit and tacit are? We need to know this for all of the stuff that we are going to learn today. Okay, so thank you for tackling that for us. So just to explain it a different way or to add more to your definition there. Yes, yes. Oh, okay. All right, no problem. So explicit, as you are highlighting, in not so many words, it is knowledge that we can document. We can put it on paper. Whereas tacit, we're talking about knowledge that is it's hard for us to put on paper because it's ways that you've learned how to execute certain things by way of experience. Both are actually by way of experience, okay? But it's harder for us to actually put on paper. For instance, it's know-how, right? You just know that, okay, as opposed to getting in the office and jumping straight on my emails, I'm fresh at the beginning of the day. So to get the most out, I'm going to start with 1, 2, 3 tasks. Then I'll move on to my emails when I'm a little more tired. All right. So it's those things that are unspoken, right? So they're hard for me to communicate to say the best way to go about this is via doing 1, 2, 3 things which you can document. Okay. So it's that knowledge that is undocumented that you get from, for instance, an apprenticeship. So if I want to become a plumber, I go under an apprenticeship, or an electrician, I go under an apprenticeship and I watch the things you do and I learn from watching. Does that make sense? And from doing as you do. You wanted to say something?
And I was about to say that that's also,
Mm-hmm.
like you say, it's more individual experience.
Yes.
I remember you saying that when he leaves like a company,
Uh-huh.
the knowledge that they have,
Yes.
they can document what they know,
Yes.
things they can put down as we know for a fact that the company has this much money because we sold this many units of
Yes.
but they can't explain how they were able to, as in how they were able to convince certain people to buy things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when they leave, it's sort of like they losing value.
100%. 100%. Okay. So that is what we are talking about in tacit and explicit knowledge. Now here, you see, so the main process is that of discovery, isn't it? But now the sub processes is combination and socialization. So under combination, they're saying new explicit knowledge is discovered through combination, all right, within multiple bodies of explicit knowledge as synthesized to create new and more complex sets of explicit knowledge. Remember here, we're talking about discovering. So when you discover, that means whatever you are retrieving or learning or managing to get is new. So remember I said we're talking about knowledge that wasn't in existence prior. Does that make sense? And so under combination, we're talking about retrieving explicit knowledge, documented stuff that we can document. Because we'll have someone from the finance coming in, we'll have somebody from operations coming in, and we'll learn from both these guys, and then we'll say, oh, when it comes to creating a product, these are the things we consider financially. These are the things we consider from an operations standpoint. You guys remember you did operations management 1B. Ne? Okay? Ah, you did. Believe it or not, you did. Operations management within learning, within the module 1B. It's one of the units. It's learning unit 2.
What?
Business management 1B. So are you still here? The year's not over. Okay, so that's the whole point of combination. Okay, so here, how do we get combination? Through communication, integration, okay, systemization of multiple streams of explicit knowledge. You see why I was using the example of operations management, financial management? The list can go on and on and on, okay? And through that combination of knowledge, we then create or discover, should I say, new knowledge. All right, that's explicit. Now, remember what we said about tacit information is stuff that you learn on the job by observation. All right, so this you learn or we pick up on through socialization, through your interaction with the next colleague. Then you begin to pick up through us engaging at the water cooler to say, this is happening. Then they'll just, no, I do this, this, and this. Can you see I'm explaining what I do? It's not documented. So there again is how we then can discover tacit knowledge. Okay, so here it says, in the case of tacit knowledge, the integration of multiple streams for creation of new knowledge occurs through the mechanism of socialization. Okay, socialization is the synthesis of tacit knowledge across individuals. Okay, we have to socialize, usually through joint activities rather than written or verbal instructions. Hey, we have been going on and on about this. So I'm sure you guys get the point. Then the next thing is knowledge capture, okay? Knowledge capture is the process by which knowledge is converted from tacit to explicit. So remember tacit, we said it's not jotted down, isn't it? All right? But we want to jot that down because we know that this is important knowledge. This can add value to employees who will follow. Does that make sense? Valued employee, when he leaves, we will have at least retrieved some of his know-how. Okay? So we want to try and document that, and that's where we do that via knowledge capture. Okay? From residing within people, artifacts, and organizational entities, and vice versa, through the sub-processes of externalization and internalization. Here, the moment I saw externalization, I thought, they're talking about maybe consultants coming in and we get some knowledge from them and that type of story. Internalization, people within the company. I was pleasantly surprised. Under the sub-processes there, externalization, they're saying, is the sub-process through which an organization captures tacit knowledge its workers process so that it can be documented, verbalized, or shared. Okay, so this is something that is shared when workers get together. So external, immediately I thought outside, but it's actually through interaction of colleagues. This is a different process because tacit knowledge is often different from articulate. Example, consult team writing a document to describe a lesson learned about the client and approaches to client. Okay? Now, internalization, what are they saying? Okay? Here they were referring to when I read a book, okay? And then I internalize the knowledge that I got from the book. So here in the example, they say new software consultant reading a book on innovative software development, okay? And learning from it, okay? Capturing the knowledge contained in the book, okay? And by definition, what they're saying this is the sub-process through which workers acquire tacit knowledge, okay? It represents the traditional notion of learning, okay? Traditional notion of learning. Like, very well, you would come to Varsity College, maybe let's say for your postgrad, because you want to use people who are already working typically. Some of you actually might actually be working as we speak, all right? You get knowledge from here, right? And then you go and apply skill sets, all right? Know-how and so forth from here through your learnings, right? And then you go and apply it there in the workplace. You've internalized what you've read in your books, all right? And then used it. You've captured some knowledge. So that was very interesting for me because I was immediately thinking external things that are outside. So it was actually the other way around in my, in reality, in comparison to my mind. The next one is knowledge sharing, okay? And then knowledge sharing, I think we've spoken quite a bit to this as well, okay? But it's the process, obviously, through which explicit and tacit knowledge is communicated to other individuals, okay? And then there you can see socialization facilitates the sharing of tacit knowledge. And then exchange is used to communicate or transfer explicit knowledge. Remember, we said explicit knowledge is documented. So you can see when I send you an email about a process or about certain information, all right, you can see that obviously I will then have an attachment. Can you see that's something that's documented? So that's what they're now talking to when they say exchange, okay? But this can also be done in groups via Teams. We have folders on Teams. We throw the relevant documentation there, okay? And they also say organizations, okay? Then typical examples of knowledge sharing, okay? There's writing books, okay? Research papers. Here at Varsity College, and many other academic institutions, you'll find that as academics, when somebody has written a paper on anything, we will present to our colleagues to say, this is what my research was about, and this is what I was investigating in my research. You guys must now know that research, you're investigating stuff, all right? All right, and that is also sharing information because we'll also share the findings of the research, you see. Then can pick any random one there, participating in communities of practice, okay? So we also have forums, and in those forums, for example, we might have a forum for accounting, and we start to say, this is what we have practiced, and this is what has worked, this is what hasn't worked. We even exchange certain workbooks, right, that certain lectures might have used and said, this has helped my students because it's an additional material that obviously the students have had, which they can utilize to practice their work and stuff. So we can go on and on and on, but that is knowledge sharing. This stuff is pretty self-explanatory. So obviously, it's obvious you just now need to know the subcategories and how exactly they then apply. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Let's give them a moment just to sit down and get comfortable. So you guys, you all went on vacation together, ne? You went to the room? To the boardroom? Welcome, welcome. All right, anyway, then we have knowledge application, okay? Knowledge application. We're discussing the knowledge processes, all right? And we have 4 knowledge processes. The first one that we had was knowledge discovery. Then we had knowledge capture. Then we just finished discussing knowledge sharing. And now we're talking about knowledge application process, okay? So knowledge application is when available knowledge is used to make decisions and perform tasks through direction and routines. Okay, so direction and routines are then your sub processes. Okay, so direction, what are they referring to when they say direction? Direction refers to the process through which the individual processing the knowledge possessing the knowledge, directs the action of another individual without transferring to that individual the knowledge underlying the direction. It is more than an individual who that an individual who possesses knowledge advises another. So I think that was supposed to be than, okay? More than an individual who possesses knowledge advises another. For example, direction is the process used when a production worker calls an expert to ask her how to solve a particular problem. Okay, so someone is calling someone for advice on how to solve a particular problem with a machine, and then proceeds to solve the problem based on the instructions given by the expert. Okay, right. Then routines involve the utilization of knowledge embedded in procedures. Okay, rules, norms, and processes, okay, that guide future behavior. Can be automated using IT, such as systems that provide help desk agents, field engineers, consultants, customers, and end users with specific and automated answers from a knowledge base. Okay. Then finally it says, both direction and routines are applicable to either tacit and explicit knowledge. Okay? Application does not require a person applying the knowledge to understand it. Okay? So, before we go any further, we basically just discussed your knowledge processes. Your knowledge processes. We then go on to your knowledge systems. But before we go there, I want us to do a quiz on knowledge, not systems, but processes. Each of us is going to do this thing individually. Tonight, today, to afternoon, not tonight. Right now. Okay? Yeah, on a piece of paper. On a piece of paper. So you can take a picture of this. I'm going to give you guys, this is just 3 multiple choice questions that you can choose from for each of the 8 questions. Each individual, yes, must do it themselves. And you don't write your name at the top. We're going to quickly switch around. Switch around. Okay? You guys can see, ne? Take a picture because I want to switch the screens whilst you're. Okay, you can use your textbooks. It's not an exam or anything. You can use your textbooks to try and find the right answer. Okay? So, yeah. Sorry, yes? You can't see. Yeah? No, you're doing all of them, each of you. Yeah, as in you have 3 multiple choice answers that you can select. Yes. Okay.
So you don't know the names?
Huh?
You don't know the names?
Yeah, you don't write your names. It's irrelevant. We don't care about the names. Okay?